And in all those preliminary appearings that I've attended, there's the presence of something very beautiful.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're looking at the most hypocritical moments live on air.
I'm on Team Christian side as far as that's concerned.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Number 10, Edwina Currie.
Edwina, I mean, there is an issue of trust generally, isn't there? I think Atta is right there.
You'd struggle to find anyone who wanted to defend the government in 2020, and yet Edwina Currie still turned up on Good Morning Britain to give it a go. She was in the government's corner throughout the pandemic, which is even more baffling in hindsight than it was at the time.
So as soon as you say use common sense, you're opening up to individuals making decisions, which is potentially dangerous in a pandemic.
In this clip, Currie was on to insist that the COVID guidelines weren't confusing whatsoever.
We don't like the advice and then we blame the government. That's not right. We have to accept this advice, accept the good sense that is behind it.
Despite that, she was unable, when put on the spot, to explain a lot of the rules, insisting that they were common sense, even when various government ministers seemed to be unable to follow their own rules, Matt Hancock and Dominic Cummings chief among them.
All these things chip away at trust of what the government says.
No, I think it's the other way around.
Laura Kuenssberg.
The main reason that we're having this election, of course, is because of Brexit. If Boris Johnson is lucky enough to get a majority, then unless something really weird happens, we will leave the European Union at the end of next month.
Is Laura Kuenssberg unbiased? You'd certainly struggle to find anybody who thinks so. For years, Kuenssberg, who used to be BBC News' political editor and now presents the Beeb's prestigious Sunday morning political chat show, has been accused of being a pro-Tory mouthpiece. She's supposed to be neutral because of her job at the BBC, and yet she's been reprimanded for bias multiple times.
The main person, really, though, that I spoke to in the whole of 2020 was Laura Kuenssberg at the BBC.
She was even a key source in the Dominic Cummings Barnard Castle fiasco because Cummings kept briefing her directly, sending her exclusive texts, and she once tweeted fake stories which she then had to retract and apologise for. It's a miracle that she still works for the BBC at all.
And because I was in the room for certain crucial things, I could give guidance to her on certain very big stories.
Number 8, Thomas Skinner.
I make money out of social media. I get paid to do adverts. I've got quite a big following on there. So I do like social media.
Mr. Bosch himself had some choice comments to make about social media when he appeared on this 2026 edition of Question Time. Though it's easy to agree in principle with what Skinner was saying about social media being too divisive, he was immediately called out, including by Fiona Bruce, for the fact that he makes money on it himself.
As you said, you're benefiting from social media. You make part of your living that way. And part of the reason you're able to make your living that way...
He admitted at the beginning to making money on social media, but then didn't put two and two together and accept that he's personally benefiting from algorithms online. It was remarkable to watch him sit there and argue both sides of the case at once without seeing that he was a walking contradiction.
It's given you a platform, job opportunities have come your way because of it. So presumably you're, in a way, in the nicest possible way, you're part of the problem.
Number 7, Mark Dolan.
I didn't expect to be sat here tonight. I was going to wash my hair and watch Coronation Street.
It wasn't just Dolan guilty of hypocrisy over this, but basically everyone at GB News. In 2023, Lawrence Fox and Dan Wootton found themselves cast off GB News' middling airwaves after Fox made some sexist remarks about journalist Ava Evans.
Free speech is everything, but it comes with responsibility.
While a great many people were glad to see them leave GB News over this, it didn't go down well with the channel's key audience, as they were viewed as submitting to the free speech policing the channel was set up to push back against.
Whether Lawrence should stay on air is not my decision, and Dan's absence tonight is also beyond my control.
It turned out that some things are controversial enough for even them to take action over, leading to cries of betrayal from its devoted anti-woke viewers.
GB News has directly apologised to the journalist concerned.
Number 6, Nadine Dorries.
I think the future and the longevity of that broadcaster should be brought into question and should particularly when it's a receipt of taxpayers' money.
She has no shortage of bizarre moments, but this viral clip from a Live Select Committee hearing takes the cake. She was still an MP serving as the Culture Secretary when this happened in 2021, and at the time was gunning for Channel 4, wanting to sell it because she thought it was a drain on public finances.
That just because Channel 4 has been established as a public service broadcaster, and just because it's in receipt of public money, we should never kind of audit the future of Channel 4.
She was then roundly humiliated by the committee when they pointed out that Channel 4 might be publicly owned, but it's not in receipt of public money from license payers, and is funded commercially through advertisements. It's not surprising that she didn't last as Culture Secretary for very long, and has since defected from the Tories to Reform UK.
But Channel 4 is not like the BBC. It's not in receipt of licence fee money. It makes its money from commercial operations.
And so, although it's, and...
Number 5. Piers Morgan.
And I understand that you don't like Meghan Markle. You've made it so clear a number of times on this programme.
To this day, Piers Morgan prides himself on being open to debate, always asking the difficult questions, having interviews with controversial figures that few other journalists are able to get.
But yet you continue to trash her.
Okay, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no.
Sorry. Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, maybe not mine.
No.
But that facade tumbled away in 2021 when he quit Good Morning Britain live. He got into a spat over whether he should give it a rest criticising Meghan Markle, something he didn't want to do, throwing a tantrum after being given the smallest pushback from Alex Beresford.
Sorry, can't do
this. This is absolutely diabolical behaviour.
It was deeply embarrassing, and he still hasn't lived it down, even after years fronting his own successful talk show. He got tens of thousands of complaints for his outburst.
Following discussions with ITV, Piers Morgan has decided now is the time to leave Good Morning Britain.
Number 4, Richard Dawkins.
I call myself a cultural Christian. I'm not a believer. But there's a distinction between being a believing Christian and being a cultural Christian.
Did you have Richard Dawkins becoming a Christian on your 2020's bingo card? In 2024, Dawkins, father of the New Atheist Movement and author of foundational atheist text The God Delusion, announced live on LBC that he was now a cultural Christian.
If I had to choose between Christianity and Islam, I choose Christianity every single time.
This means that he doesn't actually believe in Christianity, but he does believe that the UK shouldn't substitute an alternative religion, which means he doesn't think any more mosques should be allowed to be built.
The things that Christians believe are actually nonsense. I mean, I think that when you say you waver, I wanted to ask you, do you actually believe that Jesus had a virgin for a mother?
But it's pretty brazen of him to sit there and complain about there not being enough cathedrals or churches, while also saying he's glad that fewer people believe in the gospel because it's supposedly nonsense.
I don't want to be misunderstood. I mean, I do think it's nonsense.
Number 3, Phillip Schofield.
It's a big thing to go public on something like this, and you are going to get battered on social media. How do you feel about that?
He's been called a hypocrite for a great many things over the years, chief among them the apparent disconnect between his public persona and private life. But in 2023, after his monumental scandal, one woman in particular had something to say about him, Carla Bellucci.
You've been a parasite on the NHS.
Obviously, like press and media, they have, like, what I've said is true. I'm going to stand by what I've said.
You may remember her as the woman who conned the NHS out of a free nose job, something she later appeared on This Morning to discuss. Scove didn't mince words with her, and she said she was relentlessly trolled on social media because of her appearance on This Morning. She then called him a hypocrite when he complained about being dogpiled online in the wake of his big controversy, having, in her view, led similar dogpiles himself.
I literally just said that I wasn't happy about my nose. It made me feel unhappy in day-to-day life. It did get me a bit depressed and down, which was an exaggeration of the truth.
Number 2, Ben Shapiro.
Are you an objective journalist or are you an opinion journalist?
I'm a journalist that asks questions.
Okay, so you're a supposedly objective journalist calling policies with which you disagree barbaric and suggesting only one side of the political aisle has...
He's another free speech warrior like Piers Morgan, but he couldn't take the heat when he ended up in the hot seat against Andrew Neil. Neil's right-wing politics are well known in the UK, and he doesn't try to hide that, but when conducting interviews, he always takes the opposite position to his guests because it makes for better journalism.
Why don't you just say that you're on the left? Is this so hard for you? Why can't you just be honest?
Mr.
Seriously,
Shapiro,
it's a serious question.
Mr. Shapiro, if you only knew how ridiculous that statement is, you wouldn't have said it.
Shapiro, however, didn't know the first thing about Neil, accusing him of being a leftist because he quizzed Shapiro on some of his political beliefs. Shapiro got so cross, he ended the interview, only to have to apologize online when it became clear he misunderstood Neil's standard interview technique. You would think a seasoned debater like Shapiro would understand devil's advocates.
No, I'm not inclined to continue an interview with a person as badly motivated as you as an interviewer, so I think we're done here.
Number 1. Russell Brand.
Was that the one you took into court?
Yeah, the very one.
Okay. What was your thinking of taking it into court? And what you were seeing, looking at some passages, what were the relevant passages for you?
We already talked about Piers Morgan himself, but in this clip from Uncensored, he managed to humiliate Russell Brand without saying a word.
It was this from Isaiah.
After a tense interview over Brand's ongoing legal woes, he asked Brand to talk about his recent turn to Christianity and which Bible verses he's found solace in as he awaited his trial.
It's this. They don't like that, do they, in the old gallery?
A full 2 minutes of Brand awkwardly flipping through the Bible, trying to find a particular verse followed, while Piers sat there in complete silence.
It says here,
he was presumably well aware that Brand looking like he's never opened a Bible in his life is ratings gold, and it was, shattering Brand's current image as a born-again Christian living in Florida.
I can't actually find the verse that I had that day, but this is good enough.
Let us know in the comments which hypocritical clips we missed.